I had my mic mute there. Muted there. I apologize about that, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Dog Call. I'm your host, Armando Black. Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Well, it's Tuesday, the last Tuesday in October. So I'm going to be doing it a little different today. Starting today, not only will I be revealing my top five for the week, I will also be giving a breakdown of the pathway to each of the five teams' pathway to Atlanta, which is going to be the host city for the SEC championship game. It's been the host city since 1993, if I'm not mistaken. Since 1993, the city of Atlanta has hosted the SEC championship football game. So, everyone, get your popcorn ready. I'm Armando Black. Hit that like button and get ready because I'm about to reveal the top five SEC teams for Week 10. This is the Dog Call. Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the Dog Call. This is the Week 10 edition of the SEC, my revealing of the SEC top five teams. And as you remember last week, it was a little chaos in the SEC. We had Missouri and Bama played an all important game, and pretty much Missouri is, in my opinion, they are. I don't see them having a path to Atlanta or a path in the college football playoffs because it's just it looks like it's going to be crowded. The playoff field is going to be crowded, and their strength of schedule is just it's just it won't be strong enough. They had to at least beat one of the two, Texas A&M, Bama. They had to have beaten one of the two in order to have some type of claim as there were one of the best 12 teams in the nation. So that's that. We're in week 10. This is the last Tuesday of October. Now, not only I'm going to be revealing the top five team, I'm going to be giving you their path to Atlanta. So everyone get your popcorn ready. I'm about to reveal for week 10 the SEC top five football teams for week 10. Drum roll, please. All right, for week 10. This is my top five for week 10. Looks a little different. LSU's in a different spot. Tennessee and Texas. let me go ahead and break it down. I thought about putting Bama and LSU both at number 5, but what pretty much gives, in my opinion, from my eye test, what gives LSU the edge is, from my eye test, I just think LSU is the better team. I think they have the better quarterback. I think they have more weapons, and I think they have a better defense than Bama. I think they're better on both sides of the ball. Bama's pretty good on offense, but that passing game is not as elite as we thought it was going to be, because Miro is not an elite passer. Their running game, they can get you on the ground. They can hurt you on the ground. That's hey, that's evident. They can hurt you on the ground, and that's where they did most of their damage to Missouri, on the ground. Defense is playing a little better. Um, we don't really know how good that defense is, because they were, for the majority of that game, they were playing against a backup quarterback. In my opinion, I think Drew Pivey, I think that's his name. I hate to mispronounce people's names, but Missouri's backup quarterback is one of the worst backups in the nation, in my opinion. Not just the SEC, but in college football. Period. The kid came in there and threw 3 interceptions in that game, and he was just terrible, awful, terrible. He was also terrible in the Auburn game as well. So not much of a surprise there that he came in and laid an egg. And that's one of the reasons why I had Bama picked, because I knew that Missouri was hit with injuries. They lost one of their top wideouts, Cooper. They lost their running back, Noel, and Cook was out for that game. So Bama was pretty much playing against a bunch of backups, where LSU went into Kyle Field and, for, I say, at least maybe 3 quarters or 2.5 quarters, dominated that game. The thing with LSU is, and Brian Kelly, and this is a history with Brian Kelly's teams going back to his days at Cincinnati. You got to be able to close your opponent out. You got to be able to close the game out, and that is the issue, and that's going to be the issue moving forward with LSU. They're going to have to figure that out. Now, as I stated on the post-game show last Saturday night, LSU is not eliminated. They're not mathematically eliminated because of their strength of schedule. All LSU has to do is take care of business next Saturday. Take care of business next Saturday against Bama. And in my opinion, LSU will be solid, one of the solid selections in the college football playoffs. I don't know if they'll make it to Atlanta for the SEC championship game, but they will definitely can stamp their ticket to the playoffs if they beat Bama. That game is pretty much going to be an elimination game. I think the loser is eliminated, and the winner will probably be able to stamp their ticket on into the playoffs. Both teams will have Oklahoma left on their schedule, where Bama will have Oklahoma and Auburn. And Auburn is playing some good football right now, as we've all come accustomed to seeing that Auburn gets better as the season goes along. So Bama is going to have to watch out in that Iron Bowl. Even though they got it in Bryant-Denny, anything can happen in that Iron Bowl. We've seen Auburn go up to Bryant-Denny. I know I have in my lifetime. I've seen Auburn go to Bryant-Denny and pull off surprises. I've seen Auburn go to Birmingham, and when the game was in Birmingham, pull off some surprises. So it's not far-fetched to think that Auburn could not pull off the upset in Bryant-Denny this year. Remember, they had them on the ropes last year in Jordan-Hare. So that game right there, when it comes down to Auburn and Alabama, records go out the window. Tennessee only has one loss right now in the SEC. They are sitting pretty. Their path to Atlanta is simply beat Georgia, take care of business against Athens, in a couple of weeks. You got a trip to Athens in a couple of weeks. Um, just take care of business. You have a huge advantage because uh, Georgia is going to have to go through a tough November schedule starting this Saturday. They have Florida. Then the week after that, they have Ole Miss. And then the week after that, they host Tennessee. So they go to Jacksonville this Saturday and they host. I'm sorry, they go to Jacksonville this Saturday. They go to Oxford the following week and play Ole Miss. And then they're back home in Athens hosting those Tennessee Volunteers. Scrappy team. Tennessee is a scrappy team, and they have an elite defense. They have an elite defense. We found that out when they played Bama. They pretty much shut that offense down in the second half. So Tennessee is a dangerous team, and their path is clear. Beat Georgia, and I think the rest of their schedule, I think they'll be able to take care of business against Vanderbilt. The rest of their schedule is manageable. And not only would they be a playoff team, they would definitely get to Atlanta, because with a victory over Georgia, they would hold a tiebreaker over both Georgia and Texas. All right. Now, at number 3, the Texas Longhorns, their path to victory is this simple. You gotta take care of business in Arkansas. You got to take care of business against Arkansas. Hope that Georgia loses to Florida, Ole Miss, or Tennessee. Okay. Then you get to College Station on November 30th. You have to take care of business down there. Texas A&M, if they keep going the way they're going and remain undefeated, they can afford one loss. They could lose that game in College Station on the 30th and still end up in Atlanta. We could have a very unusual situation. We could end up having a Texas A&M rematch in Atlanta. They could play back-to-back weeks. If Georgia slips up against one of the 3, Florida, Ole Miss, or Tennessee, then that would put Texas back in the driver's seat, because remember, Texas only has one loss. That will put Texas would control their own destiny. Take care of business in Little Rock. Beat Arkansas, and then take care of business on November 30th. That is the path, but they need help. Texas needs help from either Florida, Ole Miss, or Tennessee. They need Georgia to lose a game in order for them to actually control their own destiny. At number 2 is those Texas Aggies. Wow, what a performance Saturday. What a performance Saturday. My only issue with the Aggies is they got to figure out who's going to be the quarterback moving forward. Now, against LSU, bringing in that kid, Marcel, that I don't think Brian Kelly, and I don't think any of the coaches on the LSU defensive staff was ready for that. Now, moving forward, other teams are going to be ready for that. I think Bama's going to be ready for it. And any other team that they meet later on down the line, they're going to be ready for it. So, and Steve Sarkisian's definitely going to be ready for it. So, I'm sorry, Texas A&M don't play Bama. They don't play Bama. So, moving forward, Texas A&M, that kid, he's gonna have to throw more than 8 passes in order to beat a defense like Texas A&M. It's one thing to do it on that LSU defense. It's a whole nother thing to do it on. It's a whole nother thing to do it on that Texas defense, because Texas has a secondary. Texas has a decent secondary. Remember, as good as Georgia played against Texas, Carson Beck had 3 interceptions, and he only had 175 yards passing, which was like 200 and some change less than what he had against Bama in a loss. So arguably, you might want to say that Carson Beck had his worst game against Texas, his worst game of the season against Texas. I'll come before that, before the Texas game, I would have said his worst game was probably a tie between Kentucky and Bama, but his worst game right now, as it stands, was against that Texas secondary. They disguise a lot of different coverages, and they can confuse you. So the Aggies are going to definitely have to figure it out at quarterback by the time uh, the Longhorns roll up in the Kyle Field on November the 30th. Now, one thing about Mike Elko, he's turned out to be a pretty good coach, a great coach, I might add. He's right now, he has Texas in a situation that in my lifetime, I haven't seen Texas this close to playing for a national title in my lifetime. I mean, I can go back to the Jackie Sherrill days. Jackie Sherrill was a great coach. He was a great coach. He almost won a national title up at Pitt, but he couldn't get the Aggies over that hump when he was in College Station. Kevin Summerlin. Kevin Summerlin had some great teams, had some great players. Johnny Manziel, Kyler Murray started off at Texas A&M. He could not get them over the hump. He could not get them not even to a playoff, anywhere near the playoff. Jimbo Fisher had the number one historic class of all time in college football, and they didn't even make it to Atlanta. They didn't make it to Atlanta. So right now, Mike Elko has this team in a position where they can do something that this school has not done in years. That's compete for a conference championship and play for a national title. So anytime, you're in the playoffs, you are competing for a national championship. When it comes to playoff time, and I'm going to talk about this here in the next couple of coming weeks, when it comes down to that 12-team playoffs, records go out the window. Let me say it again now. Records could go out the window. You could have a 2-loss team winning this entire thing. You could see a situation where a 2-loss team upsets an undefeated team. You never know. So when it comes to, just like in the NFL or in Major League Baseball or in the NBA, the hottest team going into the playoff season of the schedule is usually the team that wins it all. So the Aggies, I think they're great on defense on both sides of the ball in the trenches. That running game is elite. That passing game is elite. They got some weapons. They got some receivers that can go up and get that ball. I just think the only flaw on that team right now is they need to figure it out at quarterback, and they need to figure it out in a hurry. You don't want to wait until you get like in the latter part of your season in November, and then all of a sudden you have a quarterback controversy on your hands. That's a recipe for disaster. So they got to figure it out and figure it out in a hurry. The good news is they done played the toughest part of their schedule. So pretty much it's smooth sailing until they get to November the 30th in that matchup against the Longhorns in Kyle Field. And that's another thing about Texas A&M too. They've got their toughest games they hosted at home. So I say this to all you Aggie fans: if you're gonna do it, if it's gonna be done, if you guys are gonna get in the playoffs for the first time in school history, this is the year. This is the year that you have a golden opportunity to do it, just like Tennessee. All right. And at number 1, my Georgia Bulldogs. And I know a lot of you are saying, well, the Aggies are undefeated in the SEC. Let me ask all of you a quick question here. If the Aggies and the Georgia Bulldogs played a football game tomorrow night, who would you put your money on? Would you bet against Georgia? Really? Would you bet against Georgia? Because, listen, even though they have that one loss, and let me say this again, they were hit by the injury bug. They went into that game against Bama down several players. 3 of their top D linemen were out. 3 of their top defensive pass rushers were out. Jordan Hall, Warren Brinson, Mikal Williams, they were all out. They did not play in that game against Bama. Then you had a couple of linemen that were banged up. Georgia was banged up going into that game, not using it as an excuse because injuries is all a part of football. But let's just keep it a bean here. Let's just keep it a bean here this evening. That same team that we saw in Austin, Texas a couple of weeks ago, that was not the team that you saw in Tuscaloosa on September 28th. That wasn't the same team. Having Warren Brinson on that D line, having a healthy Mikal Williams, Warren Brinson, and the Jordan Hall, that makes a huge difference. A huge difference. Now, pathway for Georgia, clear. There's only 2 teams that can control their own destiny from this point on out, for the rest of the season. That's Texas A&M and Georgia. Now, Georgia, all they have to do is win out. Take care of business against Florida. Take care of business against Ole Miss. Take care of business against Tennessee. That's it. And you're in Atlanta. You're in Atlanta. You're in Atlanta. Pencil them in Atlanta. 3 SEC games left. Take care of business. There's no margin for error, because if you lose a game, then you're pretty much going to the back of the bus. All right, because that drops you behind Texas. That drops you behind Bama. If Bama beats LSU, then that pushes Bama back in it with a chance to get in, but they would need Texas to lose a game. They would need both Texas A&M to lose, and they would need Tennessee to also lose as well. So Georgia controls their own destiny, and you know, a lot of people did not think that Georgia. A lot of people were predicting Georgia to go 9-3 this year because it's a rebuilding year. You lose Brock Bowers, you lose Ladd McConkey, you lose Rosemary St. Jack, you lose Kamari Lassiter, you lose Tyke Smith, you lose Javon Bullard. That spells a 9-3, 8-4 season written all over it. But Kirby says, "Hey, hold my beer," and he reloads. He reloads. And here they stand with only one loss, which in my opinion was a fluke loss, but a L is a L. The L is a L. We'll take it and accept it. But right now, as it stands, the Georgia Bulldogs are the best team in the SEC. Right now, hands down. And it's just not me talking. The coaches poll agree with me. The AP poll agree with me. 24/7 Sports agree with me. ESPN agrees with me. CBS agrees with me. Fox Sports agrees with me. Every poll that you find has Georgia sitting at the top, the best team in the SEC. Now, on record, the Aggies are the number 1 team. But if you're going pound for pound, the best from your eye test, from these right here, it's my Georgia Bulldogs. Now, some of you are saying, "Well, where's Bama? Why did you leave Bama off?" I like I explained earlier. Right now, from my eye test, I believe LSU is better than Bama. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. That's going to sort itself out next Saturday. That is going to sort itself out next Saturday. But from what I've seen so far this season, LSU is the better team. They're a little, more talented on both sides of the ball. That tied secondary, yeah, they played a great game against Missouri, but listen, they were playing against a bunch of backups. It is what it is. It's not me hating or anything like that. I'm just keeping it a bean. I'm just keeping it a bean. They were playing against a bunch of backups in that Missouri team. So we don't know what Missouri could have done if they were at full strength. So there you have it. There you have it. That's my top 5 for week 10. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think. Do you agree with the way I have it here? Or where would you swap out some teams? Would you shuffle them around? Let me know in the comment section. Hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, shame on you. Shame on you. All this good content that we're bringing you over here at 20 East Media Sports. So subscribe, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you can get all the notifications when I go live over here. I try to knock out 3 dog calls a week. And of course, on Fridays, we have the kickoff show. On Saturdays, we have the kickoff show and a post-game show on Saturday night. So we're bringing you great college football sports content over here. Hey, it is, this is going to be a great ride. And what makes this season so special and moving forward, the seasons after, is it used to be a time that it would be over Thanksgiving week. I remember growing up as a kid, Georgia Tech played. That was usually the end of the season. You had a bowl game, one bowl game, that would be it. But we have a lot more to look forward to. We got the entire month of December. Because the playoffs are going to be on December the 20th. Then you got a lot of pregame talk and pregame hype. This is going to be a fun ride. And I can't think of a better place for you all to be than to be right here on Armando Black TV. We're going to be talking some college football throughout the week and definitely on the weekend. So everyone, thank you for coming out. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. Share this video and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell. All right. And I love and appreciate all of you for joining me here this evening. Thank you so much. If I did not shout you out personally, please don't take it personal. On this new platform, can't really see the chat. So just know I love and appreciate all of you for supporting the platform. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. Take care of yourselves and each other. And like I always say, go dogs. Sick 'em. Woo, 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 woo. Everyone enjoy the rest of your Tuesday evening.